What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 17 of Pay to Glory. So we have done it. We've sold Patrick Vieira, the prime icon player, for a little over 3 million coins. I'll get into why we sold him in a sec, but before we do that, I just want to first thank everybody for their support on the channel. I think the video where we packed Patrick Vieira was the quickest video I've ever had to 50 views, so I really appreciate everybody who watched the video and is continuing to watch the channel. It's just helping it grow. 50 views in the first couple of days is big for a small channel like mine, so I appreciate you guys helping me grow it. I also wanted to get into a few comments. As I said, I'm always going to read, or at least try to read as many comments as I can. So a couple of comments on the last video. The first is from Shane Alex 91. Shane, who is also a fellow YouTuber, has been a big supporter of the channel, has watched almost all of the videos and given feedback, so I really appreciate his support. If you can go check out Shane's channel, just click on his link in his comment below, and you can check out some really great content there. So his comment was, "Congratulations on the pack pull, my man. If you want to get Maradona, I would get him now because you may as well enjoy the player now while you can." So I also agree with that comment. I took a different approach with this year's FIFA, whereas in the past I might have tried to keep them and try to make as much profit as possible. This year my philosophy is just enjoy the game. I've waited so long in previous FIFAs to try to hoard my coins and try to save as much as possible for things like Team of the Season, and by that point a lot of players have stopped playing, so you're also coming up against just beast teams. So if I can get really good players early on in the game, it's something that I'm going to try to do. The next comment is from Daniel, so I apologize if I got your name wrong there, but he says, "Sell Vieira and buy lots of 80 rated players, then open 2 player packs because I packed Lloris and Eriksson, or sell Vieira and buy Laudrup." So 2 different things there. One was to basically sell him and buy a lot of 2 player packs, and the reason that I don't want to do that is because I don't want to dilute the product. So what I mean by that is I could buy like a crap ton of 80 rated players or a crap ton of 2 player packs, but there's very few opportunities that you get to just get like one mass amount of coins, and I'd rather use that to just get a really big player than just dilute it into a bunch of smaller, decent players or really good players. I was thinking you could go buy N'Golo Kante and Pogba and all these guys and just make a really solid team, but I kind of wanted to just have one really big player. I've also really wanted an icon, and I also really wanted Maradona, so that was a reason that I just wanted to use those coins to just get one player that I probably wouldn't ever have access to if I hadn't packed Vieira. His other comment was surrounding buying Laudrup. Now the only reason I don't do that is because Laudrup isn't necessarily a player that I don't want to say liked. I respect what he's done in the past, both of the Laudrup brothers, Brian and Michael, but I don't necessarily want to have Brian, or I think it's Michael Laudrup who's in the game. I don't necessarily want to have Michael Laudrup above Maradona. He's probably a decent price. He's probably a really good card, but I would just rather have Maradona. He was just the guy that I wanted to have in the squad. Also, Draft OK says, "Keep it up, bro," so I appreciate that. Thank you. Draft OK also asks, he says, "I got a PS4. Do you want a Versus?" So I'm up for playing any games. I try to do any online games on stream, so feel free to add me. I think my gamer tag's in there. And if you ever see me online, I occasionally will play against some of my other guys that have seen me on YouTube videos and added me and want to have game. I'm not on very often to do that. But if I am online and you see me and invite me to a game, there's a chance that I'll probably accept it. And then we want to just jump right back into the actual video itself, but I want to talk about why I picked up Diego Maradona's baby card. So the other thing with Diego Maradona was I was always a big Diego Maradona fan. Even though he's probably not necessarily the best value, I was looking at him versus Pele. You could get baby Pele for the same price. Not the same price. He was about 2.7, so he was the cost of Maradona's 95 rated card. And I was looking at Pele thinking, oh my god, we can get Pele 94 pace, 89 shooting, and he looked like an absolute beast. I would have loved to have used him as a striker, but the reason for that was basically just I'm a World Cup buff. I love the history of the World Cup, and the 1982 World Cup was my favorite World Cup of all time, even though it was before I was born. I just wanted to go get that 1982 Maradona. He just had a special place in my heart. Also, having that 93 pace, I could just put a dead eye on him, and he'd basically be the same version as, not the same version, a little bit different, but not that far off the 95. Also, the 95 rated version, you guys know for seeing my previous videos that I'm a little bit of conspiracy theorist, and I believe in handicapping your team once it hits 84 rated. So I like to keep my rating at 83 or below, and it's a lot easier to do with a 91 than it is a 95 card. But the biggest reason being that I picked up the 91 instead of the 95 was just the cost. And the 91, I think you guys saw earlier, I got it for a little under 2.2 million. That was like the cheapest. You could have got them even cheaper, but that was the only fresh card that I'd seen for about a day and a half. So I was very thankful that I was able to get that. And the 95 rated was somewhere around, I think it was like 2.7. I think he's about 2.8 right now. So for the extra 600K, is it worth it for a 95 rated card? In my opinion, no. Like, this card has been awesome, which you guys will see so far. Like, you can just feel the difference between an icon. So those are the reasons that I really wanted to get that 91 rated version. Just really get my favorite player, Speed Demon version of him, and just, go out and use them. This early in the game, I wasn't expecting to have that card, so I'm really happy to be able to pick them up. We also, as you guys are seeing here, we did the SBC for the Liga NOS. I wanted that Casillas, not necessarily, to the point that I was willing to dump a bunch of money in, but after the 25K return, we only had about a couple teams left because I've been kind of casually doing it throughout the year so far. But with that 25K return, I could basically do it at a wash. So as you guys see, I think I started with like 930 or something when I started doing it. I only had about maybe 8 teams left, and I was able to do it for, I think it took me right down to 900K, and then that last team just, ended up taking me back up to 925. Plus I get that awesome Iker Casillas card that I'm going to try using in future episodes here. I've got that Carlos Puyol icon loan card, so I'm going to try using him. And then just put Casillas in the keeper position there just to try him. I know he's not going to be as tall as Thibaut Courtois, but whatever. I don't really care that much about it. Also, we picked up like a shadow card and a hunter card in that last pack, so those are worth about 5K a piece, maybe a little less than that. So we ended up almost making profit by doing that SBC. Like I said, most of the big teams were done pretty early. The only team that I think cost a little bit more was, I think, Maritimo, just because their cards were all silvers and it was a real nightmare to do. But overall, I'm excited to use this card. So we're going to jump into gameplay here. A really interesting set of games. So we've got 6 games overall. 4 of them, the first 4 were from seasons, and then the final 2 are from online. We made a change after the 4 games, and then we picked up another player that's I'm really excited to have in the team, and then we played 2 online games. The reason I'm sighing is because I want you guys to really notice the string of how my team is playing. Like I said earlier on, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist, and I found that when I'm playing in seasons almost feel scripted to the point that it like forces you to play almost all your games. Some games it just feels like you're just, your team is just absolutely dynamic and they just come away with everything. But if you start drawing and losing, which is happening for me this year in season Division 4, your team is just going to start playing worse. And the last 2 games, the single online matches, I'm really going to dissect, and I try to keep as many clips in there as possible because I'm going to talk about how the gameplay plays. And I want to talk about the fact that I just feel like morale is still in the game. I know I sound like a bit of a broken record, so I apologize if you guys are tired of hearing that, but I really feel like it's in the game. Spoiler alert here, if you don't want to know the results, then just mute it for a second, but I basically end up going 1 win, 2 losses, and a draw. These guys, the first game that I played here, I ended up drawing 1-1. I scored very early with Kevin De Bruyne. Usually when I play against 2 players, or a guy who's got a guess, I don't expect them to be that good. They're usually not in sync, but these guys, you could tell had played a lot together. We scored early with De Bruyne, and then he gets a real cheesy kind of late goal just on whips in a cross, and Seri, the guy from Nice, chests it down and then volleys it with his left into the top corner. Probably undeserving of goal, but my De Bruyne goal wasn't that great. It was okay. I kind of got lucky by playing him into the middle, and we end up finishing 1-1 with him. And then it starts just kind of slowly falling apart. I felt like my team was at 99 at the start of it, like when I first started that game. Those guys are really good for two players, but they basically just, one of them would just rush me and the other would go and cut off the passing lane. So they actually played defense really well, but they also just sprinted back. They got like 800 men back all the time. Every time they would get the ball, they would just run back as quickly. Every time I got the ball, they would run back as quickly as possible. So they were very tough to break down. They were very spammy, but I mean, hey, if you're going to play two players, you know, that's the way to do it. So I give them credit for that, but it was also very frustrating to play, but we do finish 1-1. This guy who's got a bit of an odd team, he's using Kevin Gamero as a striker, which you don't see too often, and then he's got Ousmane Dembele. He was probably the best player that I played so far. You could just tell that this guy was a good player from the way he was playing. Like, I don't know if it was my team or if this guy was just that good. But I just couldn't intercept any passes, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. I don't know if it's like something like this. He just shields all my guys. Like, you could tell he was a really good player and just volleys that home. He was getting lucky bounces, and I don't know if that's because of, like I said, in traditional FIFA, in the old Ultimate Teams, morale, if you would have drawn or lost a game, your team's going to start playing a little bit crappier, and they're going to not win as many battles. They're going to get caught offside a lot more. They're going to hit a lot more posts. And, you know, I'm not saying that's the reason that I end up losing this game, because there's Maradona's first goal, just an absolute rocket. But I'm not saying that's the reason that I lost this game, but I do feel like his players connected every pass, and I was getting a lot of my passes intercepted. And a lot of that will probably come down to player skill here. Like I said, this guy was a really good player, but I think he got every single pass away. Like, I just couldn't get the ball away from him. It is still pretty early on here, so I'm not going to fully take, you know, responsibility. But the amount of players that I would get in the way of a pass and it would still find its way through them, I was starting to get really frustrated with it. Of course, at this point, when I'm down 3-1, I'm starting to have to get a little bit more desperate, so I'm having to go a little bit more attacking, you know, lunge a little bit more. So the wheels kind of fell off to a certain extent. But, you know, he was getting passes through crowds, and my players just weren't getting any blocks in. As these games go on, you're going to see my players more and more often when I expect them to get right in front of a player, when I'm sprinting the ball down, at least get the body on the guy, at least put in a tackle, you know, even foul them, but make some connection. But what starts happening is I start losing games. My defenders are just running past the ball. And a lot of times it's me who's doing that. Like, if you look, I froze that clip there. You might have to look back on it. But like Eric Bailly and stuff like that, you know, they just start playing a little bit more dumber. Instead of going and cutting the passing lane off, they move up, so it allows Dele Alli to sprint in behind. And he scored 2 of these goals by just low driving crosses right across the box. And I know that's something that's going to happen regardless, but it was just really hard to do because you couldn't really stop it. You couldn't do anything to get those players back, because it's like you're trying to change players in order to force them back into defensive positions, because they were just moving up and letting his players run wide and run by and then drive across along the ground. So I don't know if that's just a bug in the game or if that's just the way my team was playing, but it was just so frustrating to come up against because you couldn't really stop it. We end up making it 4-3. We score a weird one. I was starting to pressure him a lot, and he kind of panicked in the back line there, and I was able to get one with Lacazette, and then that one with De Bruyne was a little bit lucky. There was countless opportunities that I had where I was just clear in front of goal and then just scuffed it, and then that one he just drives home. But like, look at this, you can't really defend here because I'm holding track, and track will just basically overcompensate both ways, and will allow his player to run. And then what I'm doing, if I'm not doing that, if I'm trying to manually jockey, my player will just do this and like watch him go by. So I've had a really tough time defending weave runners, like guys that are just sitting there cutting back and forth. Also the really quick pass. The quick pass is a really annoying one too, and my only reason for the quick pass working so well this year is because I feel like the change player has a bit of a delay, and if you hit pass quick enough, the guy can't change player quick enough. Even if you're using the stick, it's not accurate enough for me to feel really confident using the stick, especially in the back line. If a guy's going side to side, I'm not going to be able to change players quick enough on that backside. So really, really frustrating things to happen there. So as we come up in this third match here, this guy, I mean, you guys are going to see which one of his players really stands out. But Diego Maradona, as you guys see there, like this is the type of stuff I expect from an icon. You know, he's just bouncing, but the ball just bounces back to him. I hate to say it because it is my team, so I look a little biased by saying it, but that's what I expect an icon to do. Like, just have really good shooting, really high passing, but more importantly, just it's the small things, like the ball will just bounce back and forth to him. So this was a really good example because I'd lost 2 in a row, or I'd drawn 1 and then lost 1. It's just things like the ball bouncing his way all the time. Like, I know with the Maradona one it happened, so you could say, oh yeah, it's 50-50, but this guy was just cutting back and forth. He would get the ball and then he would cut back. He'd cut back, he'd cut back, he'd cut back, and then he would kind of cut back, pass it back in, cut back, pass it back in, and you just couldn't stop it. Like, the defenders were just running all over the place. The computer defenders were just absolutely a nightmare. It was like it was breaking the game, and he ends up scoring that with Mohamed Salah. So you could see my team starting to break down here. Like, I played a simple through ball there, and the ball just rockets out for a shot, and then another one here. I'm like right through on goal. All his defenders froze, and he scores like from about 35 yards out with Mohamed Salah, and then I'm right in front of goal. My guy hammers it off the post. So, you know, it was just like my players were just running around like bees. Like, they just weren't connecting. They weren't locking into guys. This was another one where I wanted that pass to go to Maradona, and he skips over it. So by the time I hit shoot, it's just a weak shot with Lacazette. I just hit tap, and then again I wanted it to just go back to Lacazette, and it drives to the top of the box. So I don't know if that's my fault, like user error in that going right to the top, but it was just so frustrating because I just couldn't. It wasn't doing the things that I wanted it to do. There was a lot of other games in the past where that's a really simple pass. It'll happen, and you'll be able to at least get a shot on goal from right in tight. A lot of the time you'll score because it's just a little tramp goal, but I could just feel my team breaking down. It was just little things here and there, and the only reason I felt like this went in was because I think this was in the 45th minute that I scored that. So yeah, you look at his defender just falling over himself. So, you know, it's just something that... you know, the 45th minute is a thing, right? So, I mean, I've talked about that in the past. The 45th minute does exist because I've talked with the gameplay designers about it. And the reason for it was they just want more goals scored in the 45th minute to prevent draws, right? So, it was just a really frustrating thing because I could just feel my team breaking down. It felt like I had to work a lot harder when he's scoring that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate him avoiding my tackle there, but he backs up and then just fires a laser beam from, like, 45 yards out? Not even 45 yards out, sorry. It was probably like 25, 35 yards out, something like that. But, you know, 25 yards out for like that type of rocket. Like, this is what I was talking about. You're just getting the ball, cutting back, getting the ball, cutting back. Like, my defenders aren't intercepting passes, and then he's just firing through all this traffic, and it's just finding the top corner. My keeper is just totally out of position every time. Like, I don't know if this is just Luis Hernandez being that good a card. I had no idea that he was that good, but it was just... it's just infuriating because you couldn't do anything to stop it. Like, even there, like, you can see the player fall over another player even after. So I know this sounds crazy for you guys to hear that, but when your players start following over each other or they start running into each other and doing that stupid fall, like, it just feels like the game is working against you. And even in the cutscenes, you know, before the cutscene happens, you can see, like, if a guy falls over, like, it just feels like not handicap, but it feels like your team's just, like, morale is just down. And then look at that, he scores with his left foot, like another rocket, like, just out of nowhere. Like, he was holding possession, I guess, to a certain extent, but just rocketing a shot out of nowhere. Like, he's not going to watch the replay, of course, but, you know, just rocketing shots, it was just very frustrating. And then, of course, I get a late equalizer here. Shot headed down off the bar, none of my players get it, and then Jesus, of all players, hammers it home. He was actually been fairly disappointing in these last couple games. It feels like playing in this division, he's just getting outclassed. He was really good in lower divisions earlier in the season, but he's had a really hard time in the last couple games. I don't think I've scored too many goals with him. So I think we finished 5-4. 5-4 loss to this guy. So yeah, another really tight game. I kind of clawed back, but it felt like I was just really having to fight the game. And maybe that's just me with sour grapes, so, you know, feel free to call me a whiner if that's the case, but it just felt like I was working, battling uphill against somebody. So as we come into our fourth game here, I was not feeling that confident about the result, but I was also a little bit triggered. I just wanted to go and smoke somebody. And then we come up against this guy who's got Jesse Lingard, Gabriel Jesus, Sadio Mane, Dele Alli, who's just really overpowered. He feels like the strongest card in the game. Willian, who always causes me nightmares. Under Herrera, who's another really good player. He's got Kyle Walker at left back for some reason. Just a really kind of OP team. I didn't really worry about the formation. It plays very wide. It plays very wide, and the midfield's very flat. And with all due respect to this guy, Humble, not a great player. Not a bad player, but, a guy that I expect from Division 4. These other guys aren't players that I expect from Division 4. They feel like Division 2, Division 1. Maybe they're just guys working their way up the ladder still. But this is the type of guy that in the past I would feel like I played Division 4. He's capable, he can score goals. He's decent, but he's not, a clinical finisher. He's not a guy who, like, if this guy had played better, I think my team, who are still struggling at this point, I think he would have probably beaten me, but he kind of wasted a few chances. He was getting the ball with Jesse Lingard and just trying to run it from end to end with Jesse Lingard. You could tell he just wanted Lingard to score some smoker, but like, look at these types of opportunities. Like, these are shots that normally would fly in, but because it felt like my team's morale was just really down, they're flying wide of the net. They're hitting posts. They're going wide. I'm not linking up on passes. Like, they don't feel crisp. Like, I don't expect that to rocket into the top corner, but that just flew crazy wide. So, like I said, the only real reason that I think I won this game was just because I was owning the possession. This guy was giving it away. He wasn't, holding the ball very well. He wasn't creating a lot of opportunities. He would just get the ball and kind of spam it forward and try to score these long distance shots. Like you saw one with Jesse Lingard from a really poor angle. That's probably never going to go in. So I think this was just, the difference in ability, I think, here. But with that being said, my team's still just playing absolutely terribly. That was probably not the best taken shot. I probably should have walked that in a little bit more. But you are going to see him actually score some goals here. That was actually a nice play from Lingard. But again, if you were like a real seasoned FIFA veteran, probably would have taken that in low driven at far post. It probably would have been a goal. So there was just a difference in quality in terms of like the player that I was coming up against. The first couple games, that was really awful. I don't know what happened there. He passed it and I was running back to try and get in position. The ball goes to my player and then he just basically comes back, collects it and keeps going with it. That's something that used to happen in a lot of older FIFAs. It was very annoying, but he ends up scoring it. So I'll take blame for that, I guess. It's not as prevalent anymore in FIFAs, but it was something that was really, really annoying. It used to happen. You'd be worried about running it, or you'd take it, and you'd be heading back towards your goal, and the guy would just run and take it again from you, and then just head in on goal. So thankfully, they've, for the most part, removed it. I guess it's not fully gone, but it's something that's just... used to be in the game and now it's not. So as you guys can see here, I really had to get in tight. This guy wasn't the best defender in the world, so I had to really get in tight and really get high percentage shots in on goal because I didn't feel confident that these guys were going to smoke any shots. Shots that would fly in for me, like I said, from Lacazette and Gabriel Jesus in the past and previous episodes even, you'd see me start rocketing shots that would just fly into the corners and stuff. Shots like these other guys are taking that are going in. But with my guys, I'm literally having to almost walk the ball into the net in order to really get an opportunity. So we end up getting a fourth here with Diego Maradona. That wasn't really even that well taken by me. It was just the 90th minute goal. I probably should have double sweated it across really in order to get the high percentage goal. But Diego Maradona ends up getting the rebound goal. So we end up finishing this game 4-1 and end up finishing at 1 win, 2 losses, and 1 draw. So I still felt like my team's morale was just really far down, because if you took morale in the traditional sense, a draw you go -4 or 5, and then the losses go down by almost 10 at a time. So I was kind of irritated with my team at this point. This is, I think, just the end of the game here. You guys are going to see. And then we end up going and making a couple changes. So the one position that was really scaring me was CDM. So I was using Dembele again once we got rid of Patrick Vieira. And Moussa Dembele, although he's been okay, isn't defensively that good. He's strong, but he just doesn't feel like he's quick enough to be in that position. He wasn't able to go side to side, and especially this year when you got so many kind of sweat players and tryhards that just cut back and pass back and forth. You really need a guy that's kind of a little bit more agile, that can, or at least fast, that can get over from side to side quickly. So what we did was we end up sending Moussa Dembele to the club, and we end up picking up this beast, Marcel Desailly. So 83 pace, 88 defending, 88 physical. To me, I'm expecting the world from this. I know he's traditionally a center back, but even with that card, I think this one's based around his AC Milan days, where I think he was more of a CDM. But I'm expecting like team of the year N'Golo Kante type of performance from this guy. He might not be as agile or have the change of direction, but he's a big, strong guy with defensive positioning and really good stats. I put a catalyst on that so it jacks up his passing, because his passing was a little bit weak. But even at 83 pace, even if I just use his regular pace, he was quick enough. But with that catalyst on there, he should be really quick. What I will say, he was an absolute mess in the first two games. And these are the two games that I really want you guys to focus on. They're very interesting in terms of what happens in the actual performance. I really broke them down. This first one, Jabo FC. I'll say this. This guy wasn't a bad player, but he wasn't a good player by any means. These were just online singles matches, and look at that for a sweat team. He's got every fast player in the EPL in there. He's got Hector Bellerin as one of his three center backs, and then he's got two attacking midfielders, including Theo Walcott as a center mid. So to me, this shouldn't be a very good defensive team. Okay? It's really oddly put together. It's just a pure sweat team. I get that they've got pace, but look at these types of tackles. They're just bouncing off of guys. My players aren't Bailly, Desailly. They were just running past them, and if they weren't running past them, they would just bounce off the guy, and just his player would just come away with it. So it was incredibly frustrating, because it felt like this was the game that, I don't want to say handicapped, but just things like that, offsides, posts, misses. My players were just playing absolute crap, and the real reason for it, I'll take as much blame as anything else, because you should still be able to kind of fight through it. Really good players can fight through it, but this is where the game felt like it was really screwing me. This guy got away with absolute murder in this entire game, and it's not a knock against him. He built a sweat team, it played sweaty, and he ended up winning the game. But I just want you guys, I'm really going to break down what you guys see here. So that was just a miss from Diego Maradona in terms of the free kick. Free kicks I'm not very good at this year, so I'll take full blame on that one. But that first offside, all the offsides that I got in this game were on kind of breaks like that, where I'd be coming up the middle, and I would hit pass, and it would delay the pass until the guy was offside. Almost every single time. So there, an opportunity where I kind of just threw the ball in front, pussyfooted a shot, and then that low driven across. That's basically what I want. You just want that pass across and him to be able to hit that low to the outside. His player, I don't know what he did there. I just was hitting L2 and basically muscled him off the ball. And thankfully, Lacazette actually put that away. So we're up 1-0. But don't forget, this guy's got a 3-4-1-2. His defenders here, or my defenders here, Eric Bailly was just backing up and backing up and backing up. So I had to, that was off kickoff, obviously. So Eric Bailly was just backing up, backing up, backing up. I had control of Azpilicueta. So I saw him backing up, and I just envisioned him sprinting past. So I had to draw Azpilicueta over. He was smart enough to see that pass. But my defenders, even not off just kickoff, but this entire game, it felt like they were just like chess pieces that were just standing there, and the guy could ping passes through. This was even more frustrating because this guy wasn't even playing. I had to dispossess the ball from him, and then his player comes and gets a slide tackle. So I don't know if you'll see that because I tried to slow it down, but I don't know if it worked there. But when I hit shoot, he still took 2 stutter steps, and then the shot got blocked automatically by the computer. And then again, he just passes inside, sprints near post, and my players weren't changing. I wasn't able to change players quick enough. Like the L2 button, I've become less and less confident that it actually works quick enough. I'm hitting L2 and there's so much delay in the L2. I don't know, that might be just an excuse, but it feels like the L2 is just too slow because if you get a pace whore like that, when by the time I hit L2, he couldn't change directions quick enough. So Wilfred Zaha, with just basic chemistry style, passes it in, sprints. The keeper just stands on the line, terrible positioning, and he just rockets it into the top corner. Like, it wasn't really a well-crafted goal. It was just that my team just sat there and they just didn't do anything. Like, so many instances you're going to see. This was an example of the ball coming into Lacazette. He basically just took too long to collect it. And then this, just kind of passing through. This is just poor defending on my part. And Morata just, like, if you see Desai and you see Bai and all these guys, they're just standing around. Like, they're not doing anything. Like, they didn't track any of the runs. You can go back and watch the actual play again. Desai just doesn't follow the run. And it's just, he just stands there. And it's so frustrating. He's got 88 defending. You kind of see him get lost. I don't know if you saw that at the start of the clip, but they're all doing this and just doing that. And it's like the guy's got 88 defending, 88 physical, like 83 pace, and they just let the players come at them in waves. Whereas like these other teams, like you can see how tight the defense is. Like that was so hard for me to have to be able to get that shot away. And this guy's just passing, collecting, and just sprinting away from goal and then firing shots across goal that are just rocketing into the top corner. And I can't even get shots away. That was probably a little bit stupid. That was just out of haste that I took that one with Kevin De Bruyne because that was a little far out. I don't expect that to go in. But this is, look at this. Okay, look at the guy who's in the back bottom left corner. He was by far the last man back, and then somehow he manages to get up while both of my players stay offside. So I get called offside on that. Like, his player was basically on the byline, and I had two players ahead of him. And then still, look at them. They took forever to get back, and of course it forces the pass. I wanted it to go to De Bruyne. It forces the pass up to a player who's in an offside position. So little things like that, just all the time. It was just little BS-y things that were just forcing me to not get in this game. It was like you were playing against the computer while playing against another guy. So here again, Marcel Desailly doesn't body off Son. Nobody goes to him. Heung-min Son just walks across. He's not even facing goal. He's facing the sideline, and he bends a shot around Courtois. So I had Marcel Desailly, 88 defending, 88 physical, right on him. He was just bouncing off of him, and then he just sprints past when the guy does a lazy cutback. He doesn't take the ball when the guy cuts back right here. He just basically gives it right back to him, runs away, fires a shot flying into the top corner. Like, I don't know what to do because these things weren't happening. Like, everything this guy was touching was just turning to gold. And then, as you guys are going to see, like, I start really pressing here. He's got Otamendi as one of his only backs, just comes and bodies off Diego Maradona, which is fine. But look at how tight and look at how spammy his D is. They're just running it down. Theo Walcott there runs back, hook tackles my player, Diego Maradona, and comes away with it. Theo Walcott, he's a right winger playing center mid. Okay, look at here. Look at where you can see the pass bar there starting to make the pass. Offside. Okay, so I cut back inside. He was onside when I started to make the pass. He runs offside by the time the pass gets released, okay? So maybe that's just one instance, okay? Another opportunity, a little bit, asking a little bit much from Jesus, doesn't fly in. Another one. Inside here, expect this to go in, better go in because that's a shot that I need to go into the corner. But, like, I'm having to really create a lot of opportunities here, and so much of it is just garbage that's happening. So Diego Maradona here, try to play a pass inside to Kevin De Bruyne. Doesn't even collect it. Just goes through his legs. Goal kick. Like, it was just time after time after time. I don't know what was happening here. Just craziness. Try to make two passes through. Can't even make it. Ball comes into Gabriel Jesus. I want him to take it inside. Instead, he takes it wide. So he takes it into the path of the defender. And the defender just takes it and dispossesses it. So it was just little things here and there. Kevin De Bruyne runs, doesn't collect the ball. So, just mayhem here. Another play where I want to make this pass. Look at him. I've already made the pass. He's onside. Waits till he's offside. And then even on top of that, Bellerin comes and dispossesses him. Hector Bellerin. Okay, read the pass here. No, he's going wide. No, he's going wide again. Nothing. Just gets the ball back over and over and over. So, like, if you're telling me that there's no morale or there's nothing in this game that's, like, affecting gameplay, again, another instance where I just want that first time, I'd want him to send him into space. Under hits the through ball, and now he's got players back. over and over and over, just instance after instance. Another one where I want this to just go inside of Diego Maradona. Diego Maradona was just standing there. It wasn't moving, wasn't doing anything. Maybe just a bad decision there. But like time after time after time. I want this a little cut inside. Look at this. A little through ball. I'm in. Okay. Takes it. The defender turns and dispossesses him very easily and just hooks the ball. Just hoofs it out. Like this guy wasn't a great player. He was just getting the ball and hammering it up the field because he was just panically defending. But he just had a spam team and they were just playing perfect. Like, I don't know what was happening. Look at that touch from Desai, okay? Turns it, dispossesses it. He's away again. Sterling. I didn't want to jockey here because I knew if I jockeyed, he would just run past it. So I tried to just take the body. Wouldn't even do that. Still almost got a scoring opportunity out of that. Eric Bailly still makes a late lunge tackle, okay? So 4-on-3. His Otamendi's defending this perfectly. None of my guys are making runs. None of them do anything. I want a little slip ball through here. Of course, Smalling just intercepts. Like, over and over and over. Like, blame me for some of the decisions that I guess are being made, but Maradona has to lunge collect this. Okay, Lacazette, I just wanted a quick little cut and drive in. Instead, his first cut just takes it wide into his defender. So over and over and over. I want another pass here that's like just through. I screwed this one up, but I was just not feeling confident about doing that low-driven shot, so I tried to go right. But of course, his Otamendi runs me down. Otamendi's got like 65 pace or something like that. And then he just sends the ball in through here. Look where he takes a shot with Morata's left foot. Alvaro Morata's left foot from basically the top of the box just flies past Courtois. Like, I'm walking right in. My guys are missing the net. They're going offside. They're pussyfooting shots. Like, I can't get a shot away. And this guy wasn't a great defender. He had 3 at the back. Like, don't forget that. He had 3 at the back with 2 offensive-minded center midfielders. Wayne Rooney and Theo Walcott at right mid as the center mids. And just time after time and time, like, it was just mind-numbing. I just couldn't do anything. So I want this ball inside. I want a quick shot. Of course, he slows it down by the time Diego Maradona gets the shot away. I wish I would have just slowed that right down so you guys could really dissect it. But I just wanted a quick little pass and shoot. So I've done this 100 million times in FIFA. But in this game, everything was slow. Everything was slow. They would lunge, collect it. They would take it in stupid ways. They would take shots with their lefts. And of course, he just runs down the field, drives a ball across. My defender doesn't get there. My keeper doesn't cut it out. And he just runs in and smashes it in with Heung-min Son. Literally every shot that this guy took, I think, flew into the net. Like, just perfectly weighted ball right across goal. It was just, I don't know what was going on. It was probably the most infuriated I've ever been playing FIFA. And it was just like Marcel Desailly didn't put in one tackle. Like, you guys can just see, like, just sprinting, like, just running as fast as he can, like, just idiotic. And then this last game, I mean, maybe it's latency. I don't know. I've never really paid much attention to latency, but I've never had issues with the game as much as I did yesterday. Like, it was just absolutely incredible. And then this last game, the second online singles match we play against this guy. He's got, I guess you could call it a meta team. He's got Mohamed Salah, he's got Gabriel Jesus and Leroy Sané, which is just a nightmare combo. All of them just really, really good players in FIFA. And then Toure, Gundogan, and Ander Herrera. And then it felt like his Marcus Rojo, for some reason, was playing midfield. I don't know if he switched him into midfield, but he felt like he was at one point. But again, I want this pass up top to Lacazette, send him through with a little through ball, and it passes it to Gundogan. Like, I am hitting up top, and it passes it to Gundogan. So, like, again, like, you can blame me for these things. You could say that it's my fault. But again, like, a through ball takes it away from goal, and then that was a one-time shot. You know, that was the shot that he took. Like, pass comes across, like, instead of it just driving in on goal or even getting blocked, that's the shot that he takes. So, like I said, I mean, a lot of people could just say that it's user error in this, but these are types of things that I've done 100 times. Like, I've played Ultimate Team for 10 years and never had these issues. My team just slow. They weren't locking into players defensively. It just felt like they were running around. And there was a lot of times where the guys wouldn't even be playing, and my guy would just be doing this, trying to get the ball. Like, they weren't locking into the player. They were just running around him. And that's a perfect example. You guys are going to see Danny Rose here. I just tried to run to the guy and basically put in a tackle. Instead, he just runs right by him. Like there. Like, it's just, that's the type of stuff that happens when you start losing games. To me, it just is morale. It's just like the team's morale is down from losing a couple games, and just little stupid things happen. left and right, all over the field. Like there, I had to really sweat it. Like this guy, again, with all due respect to this guy was not even as good a player as the last player was. This guy was just making really, really aggressive type of defensive plays. He was just rushing at me, so it's quite easy to kind of break these guys open if your team is playing well. But this game was just a struggle over and over again. Send this guy through. He's through on goal. Lacazette would finish that 10 times out of 10. Look at that for a shot. Okay? Not only pussyfoots it, like hooks it about 5 yards wide of it. Doesn't even have pressure. He's not even getting run down by the guy. So many times I've run through and just hammered a shot on goal and at least caused a save out of the keeper, at least, rocketed on. Like, the fact that he's pussyfooting a shot like that, I don't know what's happening. But, like, look, again, Eric Bailly just runs past it. Like, I tried to run and intercept the pass. A lot of other times you guys are going to see, players will come, and even though they got in the way, they'll at least intercept it because I went and cut the passing lane. Instead, my guy just sprints right past the ball. So over and over and over. I know you guys might be getting upset with me because I'm just sound like a broken record, but look at my guys falling over each other, like running past the ball. Like that wasn't even a well-crafted goal. It was slow. It was predictable. I knew exactly where he was going, but none of my guys would stop it. So I don't know if it's the players that I'm using. I don't know if it's me. I don't know what's happening. But again, 1-2, 1-2. I'm trying to rocket that shot in on a low-driven. Pussyfoots it. Maybe I didn't put enough power. I don't know. But, like, time after time again, like, you guys have seen my gameplay in other games, and I've never had this issue. Again, played through to Gabriel Jesus 10 times out of 10. He would get that and just bury it into the corner. Instead, he waits. He delays on it. And just, I don't know what was happening. In that instance, I slowed it down because I wanted you guys to see. I was trying to cut to his right. Instead, he basically just backed up. This time, pass comes across, Eric Bailly takes it with his left. Instead of hitting it with his right foot, he opens his body up and hits it with his left so the defender's in the way. Gabriel Jesus, again, another shot. That was probably not, it was under a little bit of pressure there, but, just low-driven shot, just not working. And these guys just running, takes that ball easily from the end of Herrera. If he would have, set himself up a little bit better, he probably would have had a really good scoring opportunity. Again, another instance where I've got the ball, I want to play this into space. Waits, and of course somehow he gets offside. Not only offside, but it plays the ball wide away from goal so his defenders have time to get back. Like over and over. Like there's just countless examples of this. Like you guys have seen me basically for the last 20 minutes just showing you time after time after time. Like I know that there's errors on my part, but this is just example after example of this guy, coming in and just not playing that great, but my team just causing me to have to fight the game. Offsides, posts, shots wide of the net. This time I was going to low drive it, and then I was just like, you know what, I don't even trust low drive, so I just had to hit shoot. So he rockets it into the top corner. Like, I don't really ever want to do that. I just want to take a low-driven shot, but just slow acceleration. My player runs offside just to tempt me to try and play an offside ball there. So, guys were just going offside left and right, like, just having to fight the game over and over and over again. So, if you're telling me there's no morale, if these aren't enough examples, if you want to blame me, be my guest, but I think you're crazy, like, for saying that morale doesn't exist in this game. Like, it's gotta be. There's gotta be something, because, like, the fact that I go into a seasons and legitimately lose to a couple guys that are just really good players, but then your team just plays like crap. You come up against, players that aren't that good. Try to take that. A lot of other times my player would have taken that cleanly from the guy and given me at least the opportunity to shoot. Instead, it tackles it away just enough that the keeper was able to get it. Like, it's just forcing balls back. It's forcing balls back to the other guy. It's forcing balls back to the opponent. So, I don't really know what to say, because this guy wasn't a great attacker. He wasn't causing a lot of problems, but, I just, players letting up, backing up. Mohamed Salah's right foot. Maybe poor defending on my part. You could see me trying to change players with my left, and it was just a second behind everything. Every time he would hit pass, like, the delay on the change player was just, too hard for me to deal with. That was just my fault. I should have been using the right stick. But just time after time after time, I just was fighting an uphill battle. So 3-3, I really didn't expect that. Again, another pass. It's a real simple, just return pass. I didn't play a through ball there. it just took it away from goal into the path of the defender. This was a time where Gabriel Jesus, I wanted to just go around and just go straight. Instead, he takes it wide again. That happened in the last game again. Player takes it wide so the defender would have had an opportunity to defend it. Look at this. Runs past it. Trying to go around him to get it. The guy can't even dispossess it. He wasn't even playing. And then again, another opportunity where I have the chance to steal the ball. He just runs straight past it. Like, they're not locking on. Okay, so countless opportunities where the defender was actually running back. Like, I had a guy in a position where he could run into the space, and instead the defenders get there before. My guys are just not accelerating. They're not going into space. They're not doing anything properly. Like, this, again, was just so... Like, that was just so hard having to work that to get that go-ahead goal. That was just so strenuous to have to do. Like, I just don't even know what to say. Like, these last two games were just so infuriating. It was just the worst experience I'd had in FIFA this entire year, and maybe in a really long time, because it was just two opponents that weren't really that great, but my team, like, even though they're just super jacked up, they, you know, look at these giveaways the guy's giving. You know, I want this right back to Maradona. Okay, just a quick pass back to Maradona. Instead, it took the delay, and by the time it hit the pass, it chose the far man because it had taken 3 or 4 extra strides. I didn't even hit shoot there. I didn't hit celebrate here. That was just the computer basically doing everything. I didn't hit slide tackle. I probably hit shoot, but like, he just auto slid all of a sudden, and then he gets up and he runs to the corner and does his automatic celebration. So it felt like the computer was even celebrating for me. Like, I couldn't even control him. I was trying to actually force him away from that, but he wouldn't even do that properly. So, you know, just really frustrating things. I want this again, another quick pass into Lacazette. Instead, it tries to do the exact same thing. It was just like, it tries to force, like, you could see the power on the pass. I wanted it really quickly inside to Diego Maradona. That wasn't happening. Again, another pass. Normally, just collect it and shoot. Instead, he takes it wide, tries to shoot with his left foot, so the keeper's got a better angle to make the save. Like, over and over and over. Just countless examples of this. So just had to really, really force things. And then I get that late one with Aurier, but the only reason that went in was because it was the 90th minute. So, like, again, you guys, I appreciate you putting up with me through this. I'm sorry that I sound like a big whiny baby, but, like, I try to show as many examples of this as possible over and over. You know, I was just, for 2 games, my morale was down, like, regardless of what people want to say, it was down, and it was just fighting an uphill battle. You're playing the game, you're having to fight the game just as much as you're having to fight against the opponent. So, if guys want to complain that it's not an esport, I can say confidently that it's not an esport. It's not esport ready. So anyway, until episode 18, guys, where hopefully we get back on the winning streak. Take care, guys. Peace.